You're listening to The Bible Guys, a podcast where a couple of friends talk about the Bible in fun and practical ways.
Hey everybody, happy Friday!
Man, it's good to be here.
TGIF today.
It is wonderful, Chris. Today's a big day.
It is because...
It is a big day because it's Friday. We're wrapping up our entire week on the peace of God.
Yes.
And all the promises that God gives us for peace. And today, we're going to be reading one of my favorite passages.
Of course it is. Yeah, of course.
And so that's really important. But before we do that, it's very, very important to our people that we don't forget the most satisfying and joy-giving segment that we do for our fans. Our fans love to know what made Chris mad this week.
I don't think so, but okay.
And it doesn't take you long, usually.
No, I remembered immediately.
You get to these pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I was...
And thank you in advance for
so
thinking of all of us.
I was pretty irate the other day. It was actually like 4 days ago. On the way home, I stopped at our local Taco Bell.
Oh, yes.
Meaning the Taco Bell like a half a mile from my house. And I walked in and there was a young lady, and she was behind the counter where you would normally order. There is a computer there. There's a computer screen. There is everything you need with the paying thing is right there.
Yes.
I walked over and I said, hey, and I only wanted to get one item, just one item, actually 2 items. I just remembered I got an item for Stephen too, but I wanted to get one item for me.
Yes.
And I walked up to the counter and I said, I would like a chili cheese burrito and a chicken quesadilla. And she said, I'm sorry, sir, but you have to use the kiosks. And I said, what do you mean? Because that's not my Taco Bell.
Right.
But apparently it is now.
Right.
And so I turn around, I look, and by the way, the whole restaurant's empty. I'm the only human in the whole thing.
Right.
The only human.
Right.
And she goes, no, you have to use the kiosks. And I turn around, I go, what do you mean? And okay, so I walked over, and first of all, it's different than McDonald's, which means like you're taking a little bit of time. You have to read everything because it's new. And what I discovered is, when I stand in front of the human and say, I would like one chili cheese burrito and one chicken quesadilla, it takes about 2 seconds.
Right.
But instead, I spent the better part of like 3.5 minutes. And I bet you I had to hit, like I tapped that screen. I'm not kidding. 2 items 15 times.
Wow.
Skip, don't donate. Would I like a fry? Would I like this? Suggest this. You know. By the way, he wanted like no sauce on it, so I got to figure that out. Right? I got to go through there and figure that out. And by the way, I couldn't even do it. Oh, not to mention, it didn't have any Baja Blast freeze. And then I'm thinking to myself, if I ever order this again, my wife loves Baja Blast freeze.
Right.
I wasn't ordering one.
Right.
But I literally said, because again, we're the only ones in Taco Bell. I said, why isn't there a Baja Blast freeze on here? She goes, there is. I said, no, there's not. I just looked. And she comes walking out and she goes, let me show you. And she goes, click, click, click. And she goes, no, there isn't.
No.
Like, do you offer Baja Blast freezes? Yes. But they're not on the little kiosk. Anyway, here's what I'm mad at. And you already know what I'm doing.
Yes. Well, you've just made me mad.
I'm saying, just take my order for the love of God.
Right,
I have
right.
cash.
There's nobody else in the building. Just let me do it.
And not only that, but then it makes me mad for automated checkout lines at Kroger.
Right.
Right? Like, where's the human interaction? Like what about the drive-thru?
I like the automatic.
Do you?
Yeah, I like those. Because I get out so much quicker than waiting in line behind Grandma who can barely lift the jug of milk out of the thing.
Yes, but that's just a matter of whether or not they have enough lines open. That's a grocery store problem.
Punch in my number and go.
Yeah, okay, but still, the whole point is, what about the bank teller drive-thrus?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I don't go to the teller anymore.
I'm only 4 minutes in.
Please.
But let me tell you something. I walked into a PNC bank, and I wanted to make a transaction. And literally, there's not a single drive-through at the PNC bank.
No.
And there's not a single teller. There's not a teller window in this bank.
Right.
There's just like people sitting behind desks in cubicles, and there's one ATM machine outside. And have you ever seen the kind where you can call a video person?
No.
So this big, huge ATM machine has a video person. And all I was doing was like making a deposit. And I said, I want to make a deposit. And they says, well, why can't you use the machine? I said, I just tried 3 different times. It's not making one. And she goes, oh, let me help you. She gets out of her cubicle, walks over to this ATM machine, punches 17 buttons, and then all of a sudden this guy in the video screen comes up and says, "Can I help you?" And he's my teller. And he's sitting somewhere in Bangkok.
Yeah. Wow.
Whatever.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? Where's the human interaction?
Yeah.
Bring me back to 1955.
So that's what you're irate about.
I am irate that I have to use a, what is it called? A kiosk?
A kiosk, yeah.
Where's the human to human? I just want to buy a chili cheese burrito.
I think I should have the option to do both. If there's a cash register on the front front counter and there's somebody just standing there, I should be allowed to use that.
I'll go further than that. I don't want the option of anything else. I just want a human.
Read? What if you can't read?
Right.
If you can't read, then that's what you tell them. I'm sorry, I can't read your kiosk.
You remember Wayne's World when he goes, "I can't read," and it said Oscar nomination, Oscar performance. But it's what are you going to make somebody say that they're illiterate?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
Yeah. Or that's what you should have told them. I can't read your kiosk.
I did. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that. So I did one time go off on a guy. And say some things, but where's the human interaction? That's what I'm mad at.
Oh, I don't know.
People, if you own a business,
the humanity of it.
If you own a business and you have the option to go with no humans or human connection, please do the human connection.
Well, it's more expensive, substantially more expensive to do the human connection. Elon Musk is getting ready to roll out all these robots.
Yeah.
And they're going to have all of them.
You said that before, but I don't see any robots.
Yeah, they're coming. They're 2026 is what he says.
That's not true.
Yeah, well, they've got over 200,000 built.
I'll believe it when I see it.
His $1 trillion pay is incumbent upon over 1 million sales. So they just offered him a $1 trillion pay package, but he has 12 things he has to hit over the next 10 years. Uh-huh. And one of them is they have to sell 1 million robots.
Are you going to buy a robot?
Well, they're only going to be $26,000. So I told Chad, I was like, I might get rid of Chad and buy 3 robots.
Hey, that's a big compliment to Chad. That's a pretty big compliment to Chad. It's just going to take 3 robots to replace Chad? Hey, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, Chad's our executive pastor at Heritage Church. So, but no, I was just joking.
I wonder how many robots it would take to replace me. Am I as complicated as a Chad?
ChatGPT. That's all it needs to replace you. I can tell ChatGPT to do things in the voice of Chris Harbaugh.
ChatGPT can't hug people in the lobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
So, anyways, talking about being hugged.
What?
Jesus said,
"Let me give you one big spiritual hug."
Yeah.
Wow.
Jesus said, "Come to me, all who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest."
Yeah, I think there needs to be maybe a forethought on these transitions. We need to spend probably a little bit more effort.
Well, that's what you can be mad about next week.
I got to be honest. Your mariachi band yesterday transition was the best ever. It was one of the best I've ever heard, ever. But this one was really bad.
A rough one.
This one was bad. But no, yesterday was so great.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of mariachi bands, you know who's not in a mariachi band? Peter.
So, in this passage, in Matthew chapter 11, John is in prison, John the Baptist, Jesus' cousin.
Yeah.
And he sends to Jesus, goes, are you really the one?
Which I told you, that is one of my favorite passages.
Right. He's like, are you?
Yeah.
Just shoot straight. Yeah. You're really the one, right?
Whew, I love that.
Because he's about to die.
Yeah.
And I think he knows that. And so Jesus sends back, hey, go back and tell John what you've seen and what you've heard. The blind see, the lame walk, those with leprosy are cured, the deaf hear, the dead are raised to life, good news being preached to the poor. And then added, God blesses those who do not fall away because of me, right? Yeah. And so John's disciples go, he's talking to the crowds, he's telling them all these things.
It's perhaps one of the most meaningful passages for me personally in all of the Gospels.
The fact that John is struggling with his faith?
The fact that John, more than anybody else, should not doubt.
Yeah.
The fact that his job, which was anointed by an angel,
right,
and he has seen miracle after miracle after miracle, and his only job was to say, here comes the Messiah after 400 years of silence and after thousands of years of prophecies. And he baptizes Jesus. He's related to Jesus. He's inside conversations with Mary, Joseph, and everybody else. And yet, because his life was at stake, And because he was about to die, he didn't ask to be rescued. He didn't ask to be, to pull the Jesus influence card. He was willing to accept his fate, but he just had to hear the words and say, just tell me, because I just need to hear it from you. You are the Son of God, right?
Yeah.
Please tell me I haven't wasted my life on nothing. And even those of us who have been Christians for 30 years or more, even those of us in ministry, even those of us who have seen miracle after miracle, when the stakes are high and when life is low and when the pressure's on, it's okay to have doubts. It's okay to people feel so guilty about having doubts. And it's like, even John the Baptist. And then I love how Jesus also didn't save him.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't spare him. He didn't come and rescue him.
Right.
He actually just he basically said, here's scripture to prove that I am who I say I am. Right? Go tell John. And he started mentioning all the things the Messiah should have done.
Right.
And this is what I'm doing. Go tell John these things.
Then he gets frustrated. Jesus is like, he turns to the crowd as John's disciples go back to the prison to tell John.
Yeah.
Jesus turns and starts teaching the people, and he's like, you guys,
no one's greater than John the Baptist.
Yeah, you go running out there. Oh, look at John. He's this crazy guy in the woods. And you're just attracted to him for so many different reasons. And I'm telling you, nobody has ever been greater than John. And you don't even know what you were looking at.
Ever.
Right.
And by the way, that means it's a true statement because Jesus said it.
Right.
No one's ever been greater.
And then he says, yet even the least person in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he is. But he's talking about no one who has ever lived.
Yeah, no one's who ever lived. Think about all the people who have lived.
Yeah.
All the people of the human race.
Yeah.
Up until that point.
Yeah, up until the kingdom of heaven, right?
Yep.
And then he says, so John's out there preaching about the kingdom of heaven. It's been forcefully advancing. Violent people are attacking it. He's talking about King Herod at this point. And he's like, you guys are like, oh, maybe he's the resurrected Elijah. Maybe he's right. And Jesus just like frustrated with them. Like, you don't even know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, to what can I compare this generation? It's like children playing a game. This isn't a game, people. Mm-hmm. Right? And then he said, you were frustrated because John didn't come out and spend all his time eating and drinking. And so now all of a sudden some of you are saying, oh, he's possessed by a demon. Are you serious? And he's just really frustrated. But wisdom is shown to be right by its results. He says, this is what I can tell you. Right? You can look at his life and you can tell what's real. And then he's mad about the towns where he's done a bunch of miracles and they didn't respond. So he's connecting John's ministry to his ministry. Listen, you keep getting all these opportunities. John came and told you, repent, the kingdom of heaven is near. And you were like, oh, let's have some fun, John. Do some miracles, John. You're kind of a wild man out in the desert, John. And then you're like, you're no fun. You don't eat and drink. You say, you have no idea what you just missed. And then he turns and he pivots to, Chorazin and Bethsaida? And he's like, and then here I show up. I'm raising people from the dead. I'm making blind people see and lepers be healed. And you people totally blew it off. And then he goes, it's going to be really rough for you in the judgment. You people who had an opportunity and then blew me off. Yeah. It's going to be rough for you in the judgment. So you see Jesus really, there's a lot of emotion in Matthew chapter 11. And then he prays. At that time, Jesus prayed this prayer. I love it. Emotions are spilling over and Jesus prays. And he says, oh, Father, in verse 25, at that time, Jesus prayed this prayer. Oh, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, thank you for hiding these things from those who think themselves wise and clever and for revealing them to the childlike. Yes, Father, it pleased you to do it this way. My Father has entrusted everything to me. No one truly knows the Son except the Father, and no one truly knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. And then Jesus said, and here's the promise today, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light. So it's interesting. They think they're so clever. They're just out playing games. God, thank you for holding it back from the people who think they're so smart. Mm-hmm. Thank you for making it available for those who have a childlike faith. And then he literally invites us, are you worn out by this world like I am? Just run to me like a little baby, like a little child, and I'll give you the rest you need. Yeah. It's a beautiful passage.
Yeah, and I love, by the way, that Jesus often referred to the yoke of the Pharisees as heavy.
Yeah.
And so he talked about how...
Well, describe a yoke.
So a yoke is a piece of wood that connects two oxen or cows or donkeys, or two animals, and it's a piece of wood that it wraps around their necks, and so you would place it
so they could pull together.
So they could pull together. So one could lean on the other, right? And so if this one's pulling, this one pulling, and it keeps them pulling at the same time, because if you have two animals that are pulling, it's going to be hard to make sure that you have a straight line, and they're in fields, and part of the talent is making straight lines. So the yoke is a tool that ensures that. And then when he talked about earlier, he often uses the yoke and says, don't be unequally yoked, right? And he's saying, like, hey, just like everybody knows, if you put an ox and a donkey together, that you're going to go in circles because one is much, much stronger than the other. Right. So then he gives us, instructions, not being in, important relationships with unbelievers because we'll be unequally yoked. And so that's certainly a warning against marriage, right? It's certainly a warning against some of the most important relationships in our lives, especially the most important, which is marriage. So there's a direct application to that. But in this case, what he says is he says the yoke of the Pharisees is heavy. So if you get yoked up with a Pharisee who's all about the rules and the burdens and the laws, and remember, he wasn't just talking about the precepts. He was talking about the Pharisees who created laws on top of the laws. Right?
Yeah.
So Pharisees would do this really weird thing where they would, and it wasn't weird, it was just burdensome, how they would create laws to make sure that you didn't break the laws. And it was like a guardrail. They were saying like, hey, we don't want to get you too close to the cliff, so we're going to create this guardrail so that you don't even come close to the cliff. But the problem is that they were treating the guardrail laws just as important as the actual laws of God. Right? So if the rule wasn't like, if the rule was like, don't take 10 steps, they would say, well, don't even get close. Don't even take 8 steps. And if somebody took 9 steps, they would say, you broke God's law. And they were like, that's not God's law. That's your law. Right? God said 10 steps. Right? And that's what they would do. So they created all these laws and all these extra things. And so Jesus referred to their yoke as burdensome. And yet what he's saying about his yoke is he's saying, come to me because mine's light. And you're going to find out that you're not going to feel like a slave. You're not going to feel tired. You're not going to feel weary. You're not going to sweat and feel like this is, a task that's too hard for you. My burden is light and my yoke is easy to bear. Yeah. I think that is amazing how Jesus is almost like flipping the tables on the fact that he is going to be a person that if you walk with Jesus and Jesus is the one who does the pulling, then you're just going to, you're going to experience something that is much easier because Jesus is doing the heavy pulling. Yeah.
So I've done some hunting in an area where there's a lot of Amish people, and so they use horses and oxen.
Yeah.
And I just looked this up to confirm it, but I had an Amish man tell me that a yoke exponentially increases the impact.
Thank you for saying exponentially and not exponentially.
Exponentially.
Like everybody says.
No, I don't. But yeah, there you go.
That's a yoke.
So
it was in a cider mill.
Yeah, it sits on their shoulders. It sits on their neck, but leans in. Their shoulders are actually leaning in, right? Yeah. So they lean in with their shoulders. And what it does is it gives almost perfect alignment, which is what you have to have.
Yeah.
So one oxen typically can pull 5,000 pounds.
Oh, wow.
One oxen.
Wow.
So you got 1,000-pound ox being able to pull 5,000 pounds of weight. But when you align them almost perfectly together, it's not uncommon for them to go more than 15,000 pounds.
Oh, really?
So one oxen at 5,000 plus one oxen at 5,000, you'd think you'd get 10,000 pounds.
Yep.
But 2 oxen hooked up together in perfect alignment can go exponentially larger with greater weight. They can accomplish more. So it's interesting. Jesus is not saying, give all your burdens to me and I'll carry them for you. He doesn't say that.
Right.
Jesus says, you're trying to pull 5,000 pounds? hook up to me, it's not going to feel like anything.
Right.
Right? That's what he's saying. He says, my burden is easy. And my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. When you connect to me, I'm going to help you pull. And everybody would have known that. This is one of those things. Here's your problem, guys. You're trying to ride your bicycle, and I've got 350 horses in my Corvette. Right?
Right.
You're trying to pull this thing with a rope, and let me hook up my tractor to it. Right? That's what he's saying. So he's not saying there's not any work to be done. He's not saying it's not a burden. He's just saying if you're exhausted, no wonder you're exhausted. You're trying to pull it on your own. You're trying to muscle up this marriage. You're trying to muscle up your finances. You're living like the world lives, and then wondering why the burdens of life are so heavy. He said, if you'd come and decide you'd hook up with me, connect to me, I'm going to need you to go in line with me, which means, Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments. You need to go with me. I'm not going with you. You need to hook up because it's my yoke. It's not your yoke now. Mm-hmm. We're going to hook my yoke up to your burden. And if you are in alignment with me, then it's not going to be the burden that it was when you're trying to pull it on your own. You'll be able to do exponentially more. Mm-hmm. And so what's really great about the yoke is it distributes evenly across their shoulders. They're both leaning in with the same intentionality. And then they're not wasting energy fighting, pulling here, pulling there. They're just leaning in on one spot, and it gets that thing going. So I was at a place we were doing some hunting, bird hunting in the middle of the winter, pheasants, and some Amish guys were out in the middle of this pond, and they were cutting ice. It was a really clear pond, and then the horses, the ice wagon fell through the ice.
Oh wow!
And they couldn't get it out. And so there was only one horse, and he got stuck. You can see him; he's just digging, and he's just churning. It was one of those great big giants.
He's in the water?
He's on the edge. Yeah, he's partly in the water and partly on the edge of this steep pond. He's trying to get out of it, and there's a road that goes down. Like clearly a driveway. This is where they go cut ice all the time. There's a driveway that goes down to it. And he's just destroying that driveway. And he's going right, he's going left. He's just, there's kind of a little bit of panic trying to figure out how to get out. He can't get it because it's too heavy. Yeah. He's stuck in the water. Everything's heavier in the water, all that kind of stuff. He can't do it. So they calm him down. And then some guys down the street come back with two big draft horses just like him. Those giant, like Clydesdale looking ones, only they're bigger than the Clydesdales. Come in, they hook up, went out like there was no problem at all. It was like I hooked it up to, some kind of bulldozer or something, and it just popped right out. So now all of a sudden all three of them pulling together, and this way it was no problem at all. And that's what I think of every time. This is what Jesus is trying to say. Are you wiped out and exhausted by the life you're living? Well, then clearly, if you're exhausted by the life you're living, you're not totally hooked up to my yoke yet. And so that's it. You got to get in alignment with Jesus, and he doesn't promise that you won't have to pull the load. He's just saying he'll pull it with you.
Well, that is a great place to end, I think, and a great wrap up of this verse. And I love it says he will give you rest. It's like,
I love that too.
Yeah, we will find rest. Oh, we all long for rest, right? It's part of peace, and it's rest.
Have you ever been holding something so heavy you thought you were going to drop it?
Yeah.
Oh, and then you're thinking this is going to be terrible, and then somebody steps in. Next thing you know, you're like.
Yeah.
It feels so good to have somebody else come and help you grab that load.
And you experience a physical rest of your muscles, rest emotionally, is everything else, right?
In college, we got my car stuck one time, and I was trying to push it out. I couldn't get out. Next thing you know, like 5 guys from the dorm came, all got behind, and just popped right out. Yep. It felt, I was exhausted. I was just covered in sweat and mud. I was just wiped out. And then the guys, you go, boop. Just out. I'm like, why was I working so hard on my own? I didn't. Literally 20 minutes ago, if I just walked over to the dorm, I could have got those same 5 guys.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that in that moment, when you finally do run to Jesus and you do finally align with him and he takes the pressure off, you're going to wonder, why didn't I do this sooner?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, hey, that is our time. So we will hopefully see you on Monday on the Bible Guys.